her book is a her book Twitch for Musicians is not only a book, but it's also an online course that demystifies the process of producing and growing a channel on Twitch. Karen advises labels and artists on their live stream strategy and produces live stream events. She's also a strategy and business development consultant, as I said earlier, to tech startups in the music and entertainment industry, and has held executive positions at the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA, which is a trade organization that promotes and supports the creative and financial vitality of major music companies, as well as Mobile Ecosystem Forum and Tag Strategic. I've had the pleasure of listening to Karen in a couple of YouTube videos, and immediately upon seeing it, I thought, who better to talk to us about navigating the current conditions with the pandemic, artists not being able to, get an opportunity to do what they do best live. And Karen, I just before I introduce you, I just want to add one more thing, which struck me as really, really, indicative of the way things are these days. The Canadian survey on business conditions revealed that the arts, entertainment, and recreation industry was one of the three most severely impacted industries on all survey indicators. Now, Canada is falling behind or has fallen behind the US and the UK in terms of financial support for our cultural industries, but the government has basically said that their funding will seek to stabilize the arts and music sectors while investing in research and technology in these same sectors. So again, it just puts the onus back on musicians to be creative and to learn new ways of growing their audience and, of course, making money. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Karen Allen, who will be our featured keynote speaker today. Karen.
Hey, everybody. I'm super excited to be here. I was really happy when Phil reached out. I've been talking about live streaming for 5 years and no one's cared. And I've been fairly much talking to a wall, and then the pandemic hit, and suddenly everybody wanted to know. So um, I'm really happy that people want to play in my sandbox now. I really think live streaming is honestly the best thing I've seen for artists in my entire career of doing digital music. I've kind of seen everything come and go, and I'm the first one to be critical of new platforms and and new and new services and new ideas. So it's a pretty big statement when I say this is an incredible thing. I started streaming on YouNow about 5 years ago. I came across it just through my work consulting tech clients, and I saw a presentation by the CEO at a conference and could not get my head around why people were paying in virtual goods, virtual donations, that sort of thing. Why were they paying for content that looked a lot like YouTube content? So I had to try it myself. So I started a channel. It's mostly teenagers and early 20s that are on YouNow at the time. And I am not that, and it's a video platform. So I started a channel called Ask an Adult, and the deal was you could ask me anything you wanted, and it was just sort of a conversation starter. And I was really struck by what live streaming was really all about, and how people sort of warmed up to me over time, even though I really didn't have much planned. I was just kind of kicking back, talking to people, and that's what a lot of people were doing on You Now. It taught me a lot about what live streaming really is and what it isn't. And then I started looking at other live stream platforms. Twitch was sort of obvious, and at the time they had Twitch Creative, which was sort of a catch-all for all the creative arts on Twitch outside of games, and music was on there. And I saw artists on Twitch that I had never heard of, that I would look up on socials that had under 1,000 Instagram follows, under 1,000 listens on, any YouTube video, any Spotify song. A lot of them look to me to be fairly amateur hobbyists, not necessarily professional indie musicians, but people who just like to play. And they were making money. They were making actually like real money and growing real fan bases just doing Twitch. And that was really significant. So I dove into that pretty deeply. And again, not an artist, and I like to do things to figure out how they work. So I found an artist friend of mine and told her that I'll build a channel for her if she would show up and perform, and we'll see what we can do. And this was 2 years ago now, so well before the pandemic hit. And it was good timing for her because she was pregnant and couldn't tour, didn't want to tour, couldn't tour for the next probably year or year and a half. Um, so she was game. So I built this channel for her on Twitch and was really struck at how much more difficult it was to build a presence out on Twitch than it was on YouNow. When you're on YouNow, you click broadcast and boom, you're live. It detects your mic, it detects your camera, and it does everything for you. And everything that you need as far as fan engagement is baked into the system. And that's not really how Twitch worked at all. So, um, it was a lot. It took me probably 2 months and a lot of Googling to figure out what I was doing, and of all the things that were available to do and to use on Twitch, like which ones do I actually need to use for this artist? And then, of course, over time, we added things and deleted things and so forth. Um, and I just thought it was such an incredible resource, and the learning curve is so stiff. So I decided I would make an online course out of it. And from the course came the book. And here I am, 2 years later. The book came out a year and a half ago. Second edition hit just before the pandemic hit. And for the most part, things are pretty much the same. There's a lot more ticketed platforms, which I don't talk about so much because there are so many of them and they are so similar. And if you have a fan base that's willing to pay, do ticketed. Especially if you don't want to stream very often, then do a ticketed performance every 6 weeks or so and make it inexpensive. And there's so many great platforms that can do that. So I don't tend to spend much time on that. I still focus on what I call the UGC freemium live stream services. UGC is user generated content. Twitter is a UGC platform. Facebook is a UGC platform. All the content comes from the users. And freemium means it's part free and it's part premium. So there's a free level, but there's also a way to level up into a paid option. So UGC and free. And what are those? That's definitely Twitch. That's definitely YouNow. That's Facebook. That's YouTube. Now it's Instagram. Instagram finally has payments. That's TikTok. So a lot of places where you can just start streaming for free. People can watch you for free, and then there's options for monetization along the way. So that's sort of my sweet spot. That's what I think is probably best, especially for indie musicians who are trying to grow a fan base. Again, if you're a big artist, you already have a fan base, you probably can just do ticketed, or every so often do a Twitch, and you're totally fine. But for everything else, this is what I recommend for independent artists. I still mostly recommend Twitch, even though a lot of the other platforms have stepped up and a lot of the services that you would use on Twitch you can now use on other platforms. I still think Twitch is best for building from nothing and for building a community around you, basically, because it is a dedicated live stream platform. It is not just a live stream um, feature on an already existing platform. It's not shoehorned into an existing platform. There seems to be a lot more focus around people willing to discover artists, willing to hang out on streams for a long time, and willing to kind of settle into the community feel of it and not just do a quick content hit and bolt. So that's why I still really like Twitch. Um, but I will tell people, if you're not going to stream very often, just go where you have audience. It's going to be so much easier. So let's talk a little bit about what makes live streaming work. I could go on and on about all sorts of things that are going to work with your stream, but it really comes down to two things. And the first thing is showing up. You really just have to put the time into it. You are only going to grow. You are only going to connect with your audience. You're only going to have a rapport with them and perform for them and have the potential to be discovered by other people when you are live. So the more that you are live, the more that this is going to work for you. Again, if you're a huge artist and you've got a ton of people already coming to see you, this is not so important. But if you're at the point where you're indie and you're building and this is going to be a good stepping stone for you, you got to show up. The same way that a social media manager who's putting you on Instagram for the first time would tell you, you got to post like 3 or 4 times a week. You can't just like post once a month and call it. You got to keep building and building and building. It's exactly the same thing. You've got to show up. You got to show up to stream, and you got to show up to watch other streamers too. It's both. So it ends up being kind of a big time commit, a really fun time commit that I think pays off more than the time commit you would put into Spotify playlist building or, YouTube video marketing or anything. There's a more direct reward, and you can see the reward as you go a lot, but more than you can with other things. But yeah, show up. You got to show up. The second thing you got to do is you got to build community. You got to build community around yourself when you are live, and yeah, all the times in between when you're showing up and you're not live. You got to build community on your channel. You got to build community with other streamers. You have to be a part of the general Twitch community, because if you are trying to grow there, you can't really be an island unto yourself. It's not really how the community works. Um, and that's actually a good thing, because how many times do you walk into any sort of artist situation where all the artists are kind of down to help each other and they're really friendly? Like, it's doesn't really happen that much. It's usually very a competitive environment, and there seems to be a lot of, co-opetition, cooperation and competition on Twitch. So just be conscious that you've got to show up regularly, and when you're there, you are there to build community. You're there to build community around yourself and between you and other people. Those are the two most important things. So, when I say show up, what do I mean? We'll put some numbers around this. So, showing up when you are in a building phase, I'm going to say that's 3 to 5 days per week, and that's 2 to 4 hours per session. The 2 to 4 hours per session is a little more important than the 3 to 5 days per week, honestly. It doesn't really make any sense to do a 30-minute stream or 1 hour stream, because it takes time for people to discover that you're live. And then once they're there, they kind of want to settle in with you. This is not like a concert. It's not like playing a set at a coffee shop. If you think of it more like you're going to go on the corner and busk for a few hours. That is more what it is like. You're there to talk to the people and play some music and hang out and have some fun and then discover some other artists. You really kind of settle into the whole thing. It's not really like content creation, the way you've got to get your content out there. This is more about, hey, come hang out with me. Come be part of my world. Let's play some music and talk. That's what it is. And that's why I say you really can't establish that kind of rapport with people in only 30 minutes to an hour. And you kind of need to be long enough that other people can discover you too. I recommend people set a schedule for a couple of reasons. It helps people have an expectation of when you are going to be live. They'll think, oh, Karen's up Mondays at 5. So, they'll just know that. Um, it's on your schedule, and they've found your channel and they like you. So they'll go, oh, Karen's on at 5. So it kind of becomes a thing that they know. Um, Also, it forces you to stream. So instead of every day you thinking, oh, do I want to stream or not today? You think to yourself, it's Monday, it's 5, I'm going to stream. And you mentally prepare for it. And then you actually set up for it and you actually do it. It's really easy to blow off streaming. And what did I say was important? Showing up. Showing up and being consistent is really, really important. So if you set a schedule for yourself, then you'll follow through on it. Um, and in the beginning, just have a really low expectation of what the stream is going to be. Just go and have fun, meet a few people. You're going to be spending the first 10 to 20 streams, honestly, just kind of getting your feet under you. So go easy on yourself. And most people who are watching new streamers, they're very helpful and they're very nice, and they'll give you all kinds of suggestions if you ask them. It's again, it's a really welcoming and awesome community. Consider time zones when you stream. Twitch is an international platform, so um, with my client Marina V Music, we stream twice on weeknight Pacific time and once Sunday midday Pacific time, mostly because she has a whole European audience. And we have to stream during the day to hit that European audience. Most people are going to want to watch Twitch in the evenings because it's convenient for them, or on the weekends. Most people work 8 to 5, 9 to 6, daytime work days. They got drive time, they got family or whatever. Like their relaxing time is generally evenings and weekends. So you want to schedule your stream so you're hitting people on those kind of high times. Um, Again, there's a huge European audience. So if you feel like you would be appealing to a European audience, then definitely do at least one stream a week that would be friendly to that. And then get to know all the other European streamers too. Let's talk about building community. I would argue that Twitch is not a gaming platform. Twitch is 90% people playing games, people watching games. That's like the deal. That's what it was built on. But I will argue that it is not a gaming platform. It is a community platform where gamers come together around their love of games. It's a community first, and the gaming is just the topic. So, why do I say that? I say that because with every single stream, we break the fourth wall. We have an actual conversation with the viewers, and the viewers are able to participate in the stream. Some actually play the game with the gamers, but more than often they will buy virtual goods, and the virtual goods will show up on the screen when they do that. They can contribute just by chatting. They can contribute by subscribing and using the little emoji that when you offer subscriptions, you're able to make your own emoji. It's kind of fun. You can make it very much branded to you and to your channel. People get to use the emoji, which is super fun. And Twitch, by the way, does not have universal emoji. Twitch has a very specific set of emoji that they created around the games and around Twitch culture. So if you're not a gamer or you're not aware of the culture, none of that means anything to you. So being able to create your own emoji, which by the way, Twitch calls emotes, um, really helps because now you can do like the lighter, hey, I love what you're doing. Now you can do applause. Now you can do, laughing. Now you can do dancing. Now you can do emotes for all of your catchphrases or things people like to say. Yo, that was sick. Like, whatever. You have to build that yourself. So people will contribute in that way. People will ask a question or make a comment on the stream, and the creator will then respond to that. The fourth wall is broken. This is not like posting a gaming video to YouTube or a music video or lyric video to YouTube, where you do that and then later you look at the comments and there's this whole time shifting thing that makes you feel like there's a distance. You really do feel like you're in the room, with the streamer, and you feel like they're with you. It's this weird phenomenon that happens. So it's really about community. And you're going to get so sick of me saying this, but I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face because it's the biggest thing you have to really understand about live streaming. And the people who really understand that it really comes down to community, people who are good at building community around themselves, people who are good at nurturing community and moderating community, are the ones who do really well on Twitch, even though they may not be the best artist. You'll notice that a lot of artists on Twitch who do well are good. I wouldn't say they're amazing. Some are really, really good and some are really amazing. But a lot of people who are doing perfectly well on Twitch are good, and that's it. But they are great creators. They are really, really good at creating a world around them and welcoming people into that world and listening to what their audience is saying and amplifying back to them things that the audience wants to do. That is a good creator. And that's what you kind of have to get into your head when you're going to start live streaming. It's just a completely different way to create content, and it's different than everything the industry has ever taught you about creating content. With Instagram, it's like you have to have these super polished posts and you got to have your super slick lyric video, and then your TikToks need to be like perfectly edited and super catchy, and none of that is true on Twitch. Just be yourself. Just go and be your awesome, wonderful, quirky, weird, whatever self, and pay attention to people, respond to them, welcome them into your world, and be open to discovering other artists. And that is community. That is what is happening here, and that's how you are going to actually succeed at this. Okay, to make this even more complicated, there are 3 communities that I want you to be very aware of when you are streaming. The first is the most important, and that is the community that you build around yourself with your viewers. And you're going to build that by doing just what I've said. You're going to play some music, you're going to read the chat, you're going to respond to the chat, maybe take a request, and you're going to play some music. Wash, rinse, repeat. That is pretty much it. And you're probably going to get through 12 songs or so in hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how much talking and how much playing you do. So when I say you're on for 2 hours, don't think of it like you're on stage for 2 hours and you're just like cranking out music, because you're not. You're hanging out with people. You're just pretend you invited people over to your basement for like music and beers and a party. Like that's the vibe you want to go for. So you're going to build community between you and your viewers by playing, watching the chat, and acknowledging when people participate in your stream in some way. If they follow you, if they subscribe, if they comment, if they buy what's called a cheer mote, which is like a little virtual gift. It's like a GIF, a little animated emote GIF that will appear in the chat. And you can also make it appear on the screen too, which is really fun. But people just kind of give you little virtual gifts saying, hey, I think you're awesome. Um, and they also request songs, which is really awesome. If you like taking requests, you will love Twitch. And These are the ways that people feel like they are seen and heard, and they are a part of what you're doing. They're not just, you know, sitting in the movie theater watching the movie. They're actually in the basement with you, hanging out, having a brew, that sort of thing, because you feel like you're having this conversation, even though you're just typing and they're talking. For some reason, it's this weird phenomenon. You really feel like you're in the room together. Um, there are a couple of services that I'm going to recommend that you look into for building this fan engagement. They are pretty much the same company. They're like, I keep saying that they're the Pepsi and Coke of streamer services, because they offer pretty much the same set of features. There are some similarities and differences here and there, but by and large, it's the same set of services, and they're both perfectly acceptable. And one is called Streamlabs, 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 and the other is Stream Elements. And this is what you're going to use for your chatbots. Your chatbot's gonna automate your chat. So if someone follows, then you could have a little automated message that pops into your chat saying, "Hey, someone's just followed. Awesome, welcome." You can customize that message. Same thing for subscriptions. Same thing for donations. You can also make those alerts appear on screen next to you, and you can make them just an image that you select or create, It can be just words, it can be both, it can be that plus sound. A lot of things you can do with that. It's very easy to program. Either one of these services can do it for you. This is part of acknowledging people, right? And it also helps you identify when something has happened. If you see the alert pop up on your screen, it's like, oh, something just happened. I should acknowledge that, because you want to thank people when they follow, when they donate, when they subscribe. All these things that they do to participate in your stream, you want to acknowledge them as you go. And these alerts help you do that. And it also puts their name up on the screen, so they know that it was acknowledged that they did something, which is feels really good. Um, when people feel like they're getting something of value, that they are valued by the community, that they are a part of something, that when they've done something, it's acknowledged and it's appreciated, when that gets them, gives them a sense of ownership in the community, when they feel they're getting something of value, the natural human response is to then give something of value. And the give something of value could be a subscription, it could be a donation, it could be a song request with a donation, it could be one of those cheer motes, it could be giving a gift subscription to somebody else. It could be all of these things. And that's where we kind of go into viewer to viewer. The viewer to viewer community is its whole thing. A lot of these viewers watch more than one stream, and they have more than one favorite streamer. And they know each other from other streams they've been in. So they will often have whole conversations in the chat that have nothing to do with you. They're just catching up with each other and like giving each other a hard time and having fun and, doing all the stuff that you do when you see a friend at a club. That's exactly what it's like. It's like seeing a friend at a club. Let that happen. You don't need to insert yourself into that. If they feel comfortable doing that in your channel, in your club, awesome, great. That means they're having a good time here. They feel comfortable, and they're connecting with other people. Um, your fans, after time, will gift other people subscriptions to your channel. This happens a lot when you have regular viewers who are already subscribers but feel like they want to support you in other ways. When they see someone new come into the stream and be like, wow, gosh, you're really good. I'm glad I found this stream. They will likely gift a subscription to that person because they want them to come back. They want to help you grow your fan base. They want to welcome this person into our world that you have created on your channel. And that's a viewer to viewer thing. Viewers will also recommend other streams to each other. Happens all the time. Viewers will recommend, who should we raid? Raids are fun. I'll explain raids really quickly. Raids are when you end your stream. Before you click stop streaming, you can actually send all of your viewers into another channel all at once. It's a raid. So you can get raided, and you can also raid other people. And um, it's a way for creators to support other creators. And it's also a way to get 100 or so people into your channel all at once, which is awesome. Which brings me to streamer community. The third community dynamic you want to develop is between you and other streamers. So, just the same way, if you were to go to a new city and want to start playing out in the clubs, you would go to those clubs, you would check out the scene, you would say hi to the artist that you think you vibe with, you would be a part of it. You would hang out with the other, fans in the audience, like you would start to be part of the scene. It is the same thing on Twitch. It is, you do the same things, you just do them differently. So the streamer to streamer community is really important because streamers do like supporting other streamers because they were where you were and they got rated and it helped them grow. And there's really not a sense of a zero sum game, meaning that it's sort of an infinite supply of audience that has sort of this infinite supply of money to donate to people to support them or to support them in other ways. It's not always about money. So again, because it is live and because we can't be live all the time, we don't really get bent out of shape when someone else also has our fan base, because that fan base is going to watch them when I'm not live and that person is live. And then when that person ends and they see that I'm only streaming for an hour or two and I've got more to go, they'll send me their audience. So it's really important that you find other streamers that you generally feel like you would share a fan base with. A raid is most effective when at least half of the people from that raid stay for at least an hour. That's a good raid. If you get raided with 200 people and they all bolt because that's not their thing, that's a waste. It's a wasted raid from that creator. It's a wasted opportunity that this person just threw away because it wasn't a good fit, right? And it's a waste for you because you've been building this relationship with this artist, and then they finally raid you, and then it didn't actually mean anything in the long run because you don't share a fan base. Notice I didn't say find artists who do what you do. It doesn't matter if you are if you're a female singer pianist, you don't need to go find all the other female singer pianists, right? You need to find other people who are close enough to your genre, and you think their vibe and their channel is similar to your vibe in your channel. That is who you want to go find, and go develop relationships with them. The thing I tell artists before they ever even get on Twitch: go watch Twitch artists. Don't start dry, right? Start from a base of reference, a good, solid base of reference. So, so you have an idea of what the culture is like on Twitch, what people are doing. Pay attention to how they're building community around them, how they're monetizing that community around them, and pay attention to whether or not you dig them, because you're going to be spending a lot of time in these artists' streams getting to know them, getting to know their audience in a genuine way, not in an icky, I'm here to get something out of this kind of way, but in a, dude, I really think you're good. And I love your stream and your people are so cool. This is super awesome. If you can think that, that's where you want to be. Because if you don't think that and you're there anyway, that's going to come through and it's going to feel really like icky and like they're being used and you're just there to self promote. And I know I said that people are happy to help other streamers, but nobody wants a pushy self promoter ever in any any situation. So don't be that person. Be the person who was really there to like lift others up. When you give, you get. Keep that in mind. When you give, you get. Be a giver and you will be a getter. So you want to go into their streams. You want to follow them on socials. You want to be active in their chats. And you also want to join what's called a Discord. If you guys don't know what a Discord is, it's a whole other platform that a lot of gamers use. And it is a platform full of message board servers. Anybody can start a message board server for free. It's kind of like your own little Slack channel, if you know what Slack is. You start your own little server and then you can create your message boards, and they're going to be things like music updates and streaming highlights and request suggestions and general conversation and who else do we like around here, those sorts of things, and people will start commenting in those topics. You can think of it kind of like your own little personal Reddit in a way too. It's very similar. So because there really is no way to communicate with your audience on Twitch unless you're live, streamers have gone to Discord to have these offline conversations with their audience, and Discord has become a really big thing. So you're going to want to join their Discord. You're going to, because that's where their fans are. You want to get to know their fans and be visible with their fans. So get to know them on there. Also look for the Discords that are just for the Twitch creators. There's two of them. If you just do like a Twitch music search or something, or just ask another streamer, like, what's the invite for the Twitch streamer Discord? There are a couple of Discord accounts that are just nothing but Twitch music streamers. And then Twitch has one called Twitch Music, which is sort of like a way for our streamers to come together, but also to ask Twitch a bunch of questions. So join that one too. And that's sort of where you're going to find like the green room, so to speak, of all the other artists on Twitch and how you're going to meet them. And And if you get stuck with anything, throw up a question or do a search in the Discord. I bet you the answer is already there. People are really willing to help new streamers or even existing streamers because we've all been there. We've all tried to create what we wanted to create and hit all the problems, and we've googled it to death and we don't know what to do, and you know all that's already there. So it's an extraordinary resource for you. um, okay, so I think I've nailed down building a community to death. Let's talk about the fan journey. So this is what I have noticed over time, how people will start to get to know you and sort of where you want to push them down the fan journey. And when you see them going down this path, you know you're doing something right. So the first thing is going to start with discovery. They are going to discover you generally through a raid, or Twitch has a whole listing on music. If you go to the music tab on twitch.tv, it'll spit out everybody who's live right now. And the more streams you watch, the more that they'll be able to recommend streams to you. So people who are watching other streams that are similar to your channel, Twitch will start recommending. We've definitely gotten a lot of people coming to Marina's channel just because they found her on the recommendation list and they thought she looked cool. So discovery, they found you through a raid, they found you through recommendations, they were just looking through the thing. You had a great stream title. You title your stream every time you go live, make that catchy so they know what they're getting into, like what kind of music and what kind of vibe is going on here, like make it fun. um, or maybe they're a casual fan of yours, a follower, and you posted about it on Instagram, which you were going live and they clicked through, and now they're here. Discovery. Discovery is my first time here. I don't know what to expect, but I'm here to check you out. Play some music and let's see what happens. Um, the next is they will participate, but for free. So free participation looks like a chat message. Contributing to the chat is participation. People will sit there and lurk. And that's fine. Some people just have it on the background. Some people, aren't big chatters. But when they start chatting, that is a level of engagement, right? And then when they follow, which is free, that's another level of engagement. If they make a song request for free, and I recommend that you don't require payment until you're getting too many song requests that you can't possibly do them all. That's when you want to gate them with payments, but at the beginning, just do them for free. Requesting a song, is a level of free participation. But that says basically, I'm not just a lurker anymore. I'm actually, we call it lean forward versus lean back. We're becoming engaged, and that's great. I'm taking a first step towards being part of your community. The next step is paid participation. So that is, I'm going to subscribe. Subscriptions are 5, 10, or $25 a month. Obviously, the most popular is 5, but I'm gonna subscribe. I'm gonna subscribe because I want to use your emotes and I want to support you, and I'm down. And I want the little badge next to my name that says I subscribe. I want to be marked as part of what you are doing. Awesome. It's also, I'm going to buy a cheer emote. I'm going to, buy the virtual currency on Twitch and spend it in your channel on a little cheer emote, or I'm just going to give you some bits. It's called bits. So that's really good. I'm going to request a song and pay for it, or I'm going to just make a general donation. That is awesome. That means not only am I here and am I participating, but I'm actually putting my money here too. Awesome. The next step is when they start to see that as not just I'm spending money to have fun, because this is the beautiful thing about monetization on Twitch is that it's actually fun for the user. It's fun for them to use the emotes. It's fun for them to request a song and see it be played. You put some money behind it, it's definitely going to get played. That's fun for me. I'm spending money on me, right? The next is when that becomes a switch in their head where I'm spending money on you. I'm supporting you. I am donating more money. I am requesting more songs. I'm putting down more cheers. Um, I am gifting subs to other people. This is part of the evangelism, right? I think you're so awesome that I want other people to love you too. So I'm going to buy somebody else's subscription. Amazing. When I go to other streams, I'm going to talk about you. When the streamer says, "Who should we rate?" I'm going to say your name. Support and evangelism. That so just kind of in the back of your head, keep an eye on, are people moving down this fan journey? And if they're not, ask yourself why. What could I be doing to build a better community, to bring them more into the fold, to make them feel more a part of what I'm doing? Remember how I said people feel they're getting something of value? They want to give something of value. This is the giving something of value. I'm not sure which way. This is the giving something of value right here. The paid. There we go. This is so weird. The paid. That's the value. We want to get them to the value. And then we want to get them to more value and actually becoming an evangelizer for you. If you do your community well, which is why I spent 20 something minutes talking about it before I talked about anything else, these two bottom things will happen for you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the different platforms. Most of what I talked about so far, honestly, is applicable to live streaming in general. Some of it is Twitch specific, but not all of it. Streamlabs and Stream Elements will also work on Facebook and YouTube. So a lot of the fan engagement tools that you can use on Twitch with Streamlabs and Stream Elements, you can also use on Facebook and YouTube. Those are the only three platforms they really work on right now. And not all of the features on Twitch will work on Facebook and YouTube, but more and more are being released as we go. And the important ones are certainly there. The chat bots are there, and the on screen alerts are definitely there. So let's talk about monetization. There's a lot of check marks here, which is really nice. You probably won't be so excited when you see the next slide. Um, but they're there. So when I talk about monetization on platform, I mean monetization that is built into the platform. So with Twitch, that subscriptions and cheer motes and so forth. Facebook has a very similar thing. YouTube has a very similar thing. When I talk about monetizing off platform, I mean using Streamlabs or Stream Elements to process your donations, or sending them to your Venmo or your PayPal or your Cash App or whatever. So clearly you can do that. You can do call outs um, anytime you want to monetize off platform. But the only one who doesn't really have good on platform monetization is, or really any, is Reddit. People can give you badges on Reddit, but you don't get any money for that. You just get, like, I don't know, gold star. So there's really no money being changed hands to you on that. Although Reddit is really good right now because hardly anyone's on it. TikTok has the worst revenue shares by far. Twitch is pretty decent. This kind of gives you an idea of where you're going to make money, how you're going to make money. We can get a little deeper into specifically what the on platform monetization is. So, again, Twitch subscriptions, you're going to make 50% rev share on your subscriptions. For any bits, which is what I'm calling cheers, but if they can just give you bits, you're going to make a penny per bit spent on you, which effectively is about a 70% revenue share versus what people actually pay. On ads, it's a $3.50 CPM. And if you don't have a lot of views, you're not going to make much ad money. Don't worry about ad money. Your money on Twitch is going to come from subscriptions, it's going to come from bits, and it's going to come from those off platform donations. Facebook just has this thing called stars, and stars is the virtual goods, virtual currency that they have for Facebook, and it works a lot like cheer motes. Basically, you buy stars and you give stars, and you get credit on the stars. And I think it's pretty similar. It's about it's right around a penny per star. So if you get 100 stars, you made $1. It's that sort of thing. There's also ad revenue. Um, Again, if you don't have a lot of views, you're not going to make a lot of ad revenue. So I wouldn't worry about that so much right now. YouTube is most like Twitch. There are subscriptions, which actually they call memberships because they already have subscriptions. You can also already subscribe to a channel for free. So they call what we would know as subscriptions, they call them memberships. and those are pretty similar to Twitch. Although I believe you make 70% revenue share on that, not 50%. So that's kind of nice. YouTube has a thing called Super Chat. Super Chat is where you can pay to highlight a message, and they also have stickers, which is you just buy like a little like emoji kind of thing and post that to the chat once. You pay for that. And then of course there's the regular ad revenue on YouTube. Instagram recently added a thing called badges where people can buy badges and give you badges. It's kind of like buying stars and giving stars on Facebook. It's very similar. That's the only on platform monetization on Instagram, and it's fairly recent. Again, Reddit has none. TikTok mostly has virtual gifts. I'm not sure if they have subscriptions, but they do have virtual gifts, and they take like 70%. So it's not really great for a monetization split. The off platform, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, I recommend you run your donations through Streamlabs or Stream Elements, because when you do that, you keep all the money. First of all, there's no rev share on that. They're just basic payment processing fees. And you can generate little on-screen alerts and in-chat alerts. So when someone gives you money, you can actually say, hey, a little party on the screen. Someone just gave me money. And you can actually you can customize those, and you can customize those by dollar amounts too. So if we have a $2 donation for Marina, it's one alert. If we have one for $7, it's a different alert. If we have one over $15, it's a different alert. So people can be rewarded differently. Instagram, Reddit, and TikTok, none of those work with Streamlabs or Stream Elements. So you're basically putting up your Venmo, your Cash App, your PayPal, whatever. People are going there and donating. So if you're using that, definitely have your alerts on when you get donations. That's the only way you're going to be able to call out when someone gives you a donation. Otherwise, you're simply not going to know. Wow, we only have, I'm really taking a long time with this. Discovery. um, Discovery, I think, is best on Twitch. Again, the algorithms and the raids are really good. Facebook, only people who follow you or who are sharing your stream are going to know. YouTube is down to your followers. There's no really good general um, directory on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. There's no directory of who is live right now, and Twitch has a directory, which is really great. Instagram, only your followers are going to see that you're live. Instagram is really bad at promoting live streams. Reddit, you're going to be in the Reddit sessions subreddit, and there are not many people who are streaming right now. So it's a really good time to stream on Reddit, even though the on-platform money is non-existent. People are making plenty of money by putting up their PayPal, their Venmo, their Cash App, whatever, and it's really easy to get discovered. And most people on Reddit right now are super amateur, super like dude in the basement, like, slapping on his bass. Like, it's so if you're good, you're going to stand out. You're going to do really, really well. TikTok, again, it's down to your followers. That's all. It's so if they're not following you, they're not going to see that you're live. So if you don't have a fan base, Twitch and Reddit. If you do have a fan base and you're not going to stream very often, then you may as well stream on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, where you already have audience. You can convert those people onto Twitch. It takes time, and you're building a whole new presence on a whole new platform. So if you're doing like mad business right now on YouTube and Facebook or Instagram, then I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to stream very often, I'm going to tell you to stay there, even though I don't think the fan engagement or the money is as good on Twitch, because it takes so much to build on Twitch. But if you're down for the build, Twitch is the way you want to go. And you want to bring all your people over there. You're just going to love it. You're going to have a lot more fun. You're going to have a lot more flexibility of what you can do to monetize and build community around yourself. And then you can still like post some clips from your socials onto, from your Twitch onto your socials, and the other way as well. Okay, let's do a little fire round. Biggest mistakes that I've seen people make: bad audio, video, and lighting. Get your rig together. If you are already doing any sort of music on from home, you probably already have good equipment, right? A good mic, a decent soundboard. You just need something that's going to be like a US audio adapter, so USB audio adapter, so you can connect your board to your computer. Get a good webcam. Don't use the one that comes on your computer. They're crap. Get a really good 1080p HD webcam. They're under $100. I'm using one right now. You can see the difference. Just get one of those. If you have a DSLR camera, you can use that. If you have a GoPro, you can use that too. So, and also like think about your background. People are hanging out with you, right? Don't just have like your crappy bedroom in the background. Like vibe it up, clean it, put some lights around, um, make it cool. People want to feel like they're in your world. Like make your own little stage, so to speak, and put some thought into that. You can get really inexpensive rope lighting. Um, you know, people use all kinds of uplights. You can get them fairly inexpensively on American DJ. And my favorite thing right now is Twinkly. Twinkly.com is actually Christmas lights. It's LED Christmas lights, but you can use them any way you want, and they're fully programmable, and you can do it right from your app, and it's super, super fun. So I love that. Um, okay, perfection. Do not think you need to be perfect. Nobody is perfect on Twitch, and Twitch is not about being perfect. Live streaming is not about being perfect. Live streaming is about being yourself and sort of opening your heart to people and welcoming them into your world. That's what it is. If you're doing that, then you are already perfect. So don't wait until you got everything totally lined up, because what ends up happening is that you don't actually go live. So, um, awkward networking is a problem too, which is why I say go find artists you genuinely dig and you genuinely want to hang out with, because then your networking will never be awkward. It will always be authentic. If you have awkward networking, people will see right through that. So go find people you are generally fans of, go be a fan of theirs and support them. They will support you back. On Twitch, when people don't take requests, it's a big missed opportunity. And you can use a thing called Streamer Song List. Streamersonglist.com is what pretty much every Twitch artist uses to manage the songs that they will do for requests and to manage the queue, the list of requests that come in, and also make a little overlay on the a little overlay on the screen itself, keeping track of like what's next and what's coming up. Streamersonglist.com. Everybody uses that. It only works on Twitch, which is why I'm saying this. I don't know if requests are so important on Instagram and Facebook and so forth, but they are part of the Twitch culture. Do not think you don't fit in. Do not go to Twitch and say, I don't see anybody like me. There's always a first for something. And I personally don't see, but maybe you do rap. I don't see a lot of rap on Twitch. It doesn't mean that there isn't room for rap to grow on Twitch. There definitely are some rappers on there. There's a bunch of DJs for sure. There's loads of singer songwriters. There's all kinds of genres. Don't feel like because you don't see your kind of music on there that there's no room for your kind of music on there. People who are folk artists do really well. People who do like very regional folk, for they find their audience. They're really good. They're good creators. They're fun to hang out with. Their music is good, and they'll do some requests. Make sure you have enough requests that are covers. People like to hear songs they know, so that's a way for them to sort of get into your world, even though maybe you're playing some folk music that they have never heard of and is completely foreign to them. If you can do sort of a folk version of a Beck song or something, that's pretty awesome. People will like that. So don't feel like, don't be afraid to be the first one in the pool. And you probably are you probably find a bunch of people who do what you do. um, you just don't know because you're not on there when they're live. So that's a big thing. I feel like Twitch is really for everybody. Yeah, and Facebook and Instagram and everything too. Like if you already have audience, then your fans want to see you live. So that's a given. But if you're going to build somewhere, and especially on Reddit is like anything goes right now. Like everybody's playing everything. So for sure, if you think you're the big weirdo, go to Reddit and be the big weirdo. People love that. Um, and the other big mistake I see people make is not promoting to their socials. So when you go live, post to your socials, going live right now. Here's the link. Make it a story, make it an Instagram post, make it a tweet, put it on your Facebook, going live right now. When you get done with your stream, you can use Twitch's video editing tools. They have really good video editing tools. You can make clips from highlights, from your stream. You can download those directly to your computer and then natively post to your Facebook, your Twitter, your TikTok, or whatever. Or you can just share the link, much like you would share a link to a YouTube. Both, there's different theories on both. Obviously native posts do better with the algorithm, but if you post the link, people will be driven to your Twitch channel and they'll discover you on Twitch, and you want them to follow you and see the whole Twitch thing. So all of that, so it's, mix it up, do whatever feels right to you, but not promoting to your socials is a big mistake. Don't live in such like, don't treat Twitch like an island. Twitch is a part of everything else that you do. And the one thing that I forgot to put on here is not filling out your about page on your channel. Twitch gives you a really good place on your channel page. It's called About, where you can put all your socials. You can put links to your Bandcamp, links to your Spotify, little bio about yourself, anything basically. And they make it really easy. It's very much a template how you upload everything. So fill that out, because when people like you, they want to know more about you, and they want to follow you, and they want to, listen to you on Spotify. So make that easy for them to do. That's pretty much my time. Gosh, I really thought I'd have time for questions, but I talked way too much. Phil, what do you think? I haven't seen any questions come in. You're on mute, Phil.
Um, I I suggested that we'd be taking some questions after your presentation. So if anyone has any questions and wanted to put in the chat,
Yeah.
we can handle it that way and take whatever little time we have left with Karen. She's been amazing with this. And Karen, we really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I'll also, while you guys are putting a few questions in the chat, I'll also say that Karen's book is available at Amazon and it got a 4.8 out of 5 stars. So the reaction has been really, really great to
It's
the
a pretty
book.
good book. The book,
And
by the
it's,
way, is mostly a tech tutorial. Remember how I told you it's really a bear to set everything up and know what to do? Like I show you where to click. I show you what it's supposed to look like. Like I explain to you how to put the whole channel together. That is like the meat of the book. And then the beginning is like, this is what streaming is all about, kind of what I covered in this talk. And then the very last chapter is, this is your strategy. This is how you're going to grow. This is how you're
oh,
going to network with people. So it's a pretty heavy, like it's almost a 400-page book. It's crazy, but it's like half pictures. So don't be put off by that.
well,
Um,
I
yeah,
got a couple of questions. The
yeah.
first one is what would you say is the biggest disadvantage of using Twitch as a music platform?
Massive time suck. Massive time suck. That's the biggest disadvantage. It's the only disadvantage I can think of, is that it takes so much time to build. And if you put the time in, I tell you, it will pay off. I saw someone join right when the pandemic hit, brand new to Twitch, probably had okay socials, but was not like a big artist by any stretch. She streamed 5 days a week, probably 3 to 4 hours per day, and she hit partner within a few months. And she's consistently getting, um, now she's getting consistently right around 300 concurrent viewers, which is amazing, which means she's getting thousands and thousands of unique views every time she goes live.
Hmm.
And that's really good. I mean, probably when you first start, you're going to be under 20 concurrent viewers. And as you grow, you'll hit 50. And once you hit 100, that's a big milestone, and then once you like really get into it and people are really coming, you'll generally be between 100 and 200, and that's actually really good. She's around 3, and she put the time in. She put the time in. She built community around herself, and it has paid off for her. And I don't know how much money she makes, but I'm going to guess she probably cleared 100 to 150 last year. That would be my guess.
Wow.
1,000. That would be
Wow.
my guess, at
All
least.
right. We
Yeah.
have another question,
Mm-hmm.
and it reads, "Can you please go over quickly Steam Labs and Steam Elements
Yeah,
again?"
I'm going to put this in here. Streamlabs.com, streamelements.com. Those are the two services, and I explain how to use them in the book. I won't go into it here because it's a whole thing. But basically, you're going to connect your channel to these services. You're going to program your alerts, your chat bots, everything on the websites of these services. And then you're going to connect your channel to them either directly to your channel or through OBS. I recommend you guys use OBS for your live stream production software.
Okay.
It's
Um,
obsproject.com. It's free and it's very much a standard for everybody who live streams. Um, I teach you how to use it in the book. I don't mean to be overselling. I'm just saying this is what I do. I'm using OBS right now. I'm using OBS right now to go into Twitch. I'm producing my talk on OBS and I'm using the virtual camera on OBS as my camera in Zoom. And that is why I can do these cute little things. If you're wondering how I'm doing that, OBS is like an amazing, amazing free software. So yeah, you're
okay.
going to connect a lot of the stuff for the on-screen to your OBS, and that's you're going to produce it on OBS, and OBS is going to send the stream to Twitch to your channel, and people are going to watch on Twitch.
A follow-up question really is, you talked about this person getting about 300
Mm-hmm.
um, people uh,
Concurrent.
concurrent. Um,
Concurrent. Yeah, not for the entire stream. Over 4 hours, she's probably got a couple thousand.
wow.
Yeah, at least.
Now, now, you mentioned, and I mentioned in the intro that, some people are doing this as a side hustle. Some people are doing it for their living,
Mm-hmm.
for their livelihood. Um, what are some of the benchmarks that you need to be getting to in order to make it worth your while? Because as a festival producer, and I produce a couple of music festivals, um, a lot of artists are getting hit really hard right now because
Mm-hmm.
they don't have a place to perform. We're not doing physical events,
Right.
So last year, for example, one of our festivals, we had to take it online and we streamed on Twitch. And, here we are doing a conference. Again, we're streaming on Zoom this time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so we're not left with a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So
Well,
where
again,
do we go and what are the benchmarks for success, quote unquote?
you're going to make money on Twitch if you show up on a regular basis. You're not going to make much money on Twitch if you just do an occasional stream. Even if you're a big artist, you're not going to make much money if you do an occasional stream. You're going to make actual money, more than a side hustle, a full-time job kind of money if you stream on a regular basis, and that's the 5 days a week, 2 to 4 hours per session, the higher end of my estimate, right?
Hmm.
So Twitch will tell you that of the people they see them earning $50,000 or more per year, they see those streamers having a median concurrent viewership of 183 people.
Wow.
So just under 200. It's median, it's not average. Um, I would say if it's average, it's probably closer to 250 average concurrents. You're making at least 50 grand a year. And that's just the Twitch money. They don't count the donations that get processed through Streamlabs and Stream Elements because that's not part of their platform. Streamlabs in, I want to say 2019, processed $500 million in donations, almost entirely on Twitch. So you
Wow.
can see the volume, and that's not even Stream Elements, that's just Streamlabs, right? So those donations are not insignificant. And they tend to be a little higher for artists because artists take song requests. And people like putting donations on song requests because it ensures their song request is going to get played.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I would say if you're doing under 50 under 50 concurrents, you're making a little bit of money. It's nice, but it's not, you're making a whole lot more than you'd make on Spotify. That's for sure. But it's enough to encourage you to keep doing it.
Right.
If you are at 100 to 150, you're probably, again, this is average concurrence, assuming you're streaming, let's say 4 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a session. If you're at 100, 150, you're making potentially a full-time living depending on where you live and depending on your bills. You're probably between 30 and 50 grand a year, right? And if you are over 150 into, upwards, then you're getting closer to, the high tens of thousands and the low hundreds of thousands, depending on how you're monetizing. It really depends. Some artists do really well on song request donations. Other artists do really well on subscriptions and bits. It sort of it's weird. Um, I don't know. Again, I've seen some artists like just haul cash down on song requests. And then I've seen other artists say that they don't do so great on song requests. It's not really a thing that they do with their community so much. They just kind of play and hang out and talk. Therefore, their subscriptions and general donations are a little more important to them. So it's kind of like nailing down Jello. It's really hard to tell you. I'm just giving you general, from my anecdotal observations of what I've seen.
All right. And I'll come back to the fact that you also offer this online. Would you care to tell us more about that?
Yeah. So I have a course. Um, Twitch for Musicians is a course as well. I've basically taken every single one of those chapters in the books and I've made them videos. And it's great because some people are more visual learners than they are book learners. You can also leave comments on any one of the video lessons, and I answer them within 24 hours. And I also do a Zoom with all my students about once a month, and it's sort of a free form Q&A. It's just a place for me to say, hey, have you guys seen this yet? And let's really get into your OBS setup and what's your trouble with this. And it's great because the my students help each other too, which is really good. Um, and I update that one too a little more frequently than I update my book. Updating a book is a whole deal.
And
Putting up a new,
how
yeah,
long would you say the course lasts for?
the course is about 10 hours. It's about 10 hours, about an hour per chapter. And then I also have all the Zoom Q&As archived on there as well, and most of them are time coded, so you can actually see like in a time code like if at 15 minutes and 30 seconds we talk about chatbots, at 20 minutes and 15 seconds we talk about overlays, whatever. So it's really easy to go back through that too.
So, two things. The cost
Mhm.
of your book is, and the
Yeah.
website to sign up is.
Yeah, so everything is Twitch for Musicians. Everything springs forth from that. You can buy my book directly on Twitch for Musicians for $15, and it's an ebook. If you want a printed version, then go to Amazon or Barnes and Noble, and they're going to charge you more like between 20 and 30, depending if it's paperback or hardback or hardcover or whether it's on sale. That's just what the distribution. Book distribution is a lot like music distribution now. You just upload it and then it's all print on demand. It's so wild. So it's a little more expensive, but some people really like to have the print, because they want to open it and they want to mark dog ear things. And it depends on what kind of learner you are.
All right. We're going to wrap this up shortly, but is there any other questions before we do so? I promised Karen I would only take an hour of her time, and
Yeah, no, it's
we're
cool.
well
Yeah, I
past
mean,
that.
hit me on my socials too. I love it when people ask me questions on my socials. You can even my DMs are open on
Okay.
Twitter. You can DM me. It's super cool.
All right.
Yeah, and also there's a bunch of podcasts on like archive podcasts that I've done, other people's podcasts. I don't have my own podcast, but I've guested on other people's podcasts. So the ones that I think are probably like the most meaty, those are also on my website. If you just want to, if you haven't gotten enough of me today, then you can certainly get an earful from the from the podcast.
My last question is this: you've worked for the RIAA, and
Mm-hmm.
now you're essentially working with indie musicians.
Yeah.
How much of a switch was that?
The RA was so long ago, and I worked for them when they were suing Napster. So that was my era there. And it was a very unpopular position to be in, to say that people should be paying, music should be licensed, and the peer-to-peer file trading, shouldn't be free. And we could that's a whole other panel on what went down in
Of
that
course.
era. But I will say that my first job in this business was artist management, working with really small bands, and that has sort of informed my entire career. And when I was at the RAAA, my purpose in fighting for the artist's rights in a very unpopular way was that I knew at some point the majority of artists would, well, even then the majority of artists, but I knew that we were going towards this fully digital ecosystem, and that the rights we were fighting for the labels was the same rights we were fighting for an independent artist, because it's a sound recording royalty.
Mm,
It's not the publishing side, it's the sound recording side. And the reason, the outcome of the RA fighting as hard as they did, the result of that is sound exchange. We got a sound recording copyright established for the internet. It is still not established in the US for radio. You will not get paid for your sound recording when it gets played on the radio. In America, you will get paid for the publishing, but you will not get paid for the sound recording. So if you didn't write that song to cover, you're not getting paid.
mm,
But on the internet, you do. And it's because the RAA went to the mattresses over that. And, Sound Exchange was established for non-interactive radio-like services, and it's a compulsory statutory rate, basically. And that was established, and Sound Exchange is kind of like they're the PRO. It's a digital PRO. It's the SOCAN, so to speak, of some recordings for digital uses in non interactive uses. Um, but because that was established, Spotify had to do a deal with the record labels, not just the publishers, but the record labels. So I knew that, yeah, our budgets are to fight for Sony and Universal, and at the time BMG and all the other ones, but we were fighting for a copyright, and everybody owns a copyright. Every creator owns a copyright. So now seeing all these artists, be like, I don't even know why I need a label for anything. I can do distribution through CD Baby. I can, submit my stuff to Spotify. Like, I submit somewhere and I'm everywhere. Like, what all everything we fought for, I knew would benefit the independent artists. So that's the kind of the through line for me.
mm. And finally, do you deal with Canadian artists very much at this point?
Yeah, I actually do have some Canadian artist clients, and I was part of the Halifax Pop Explosion, and I spoke on Indie Week. So I do actually have a little bit of footprint in Canada, which is really nice. And I think it's so great how you guys can actually get grants. You know, you have I forget what it's called. I forget the name of the program, but
Factor.
Factor, yeah,
Yes,
that
yes.
doesn't exist here. We can't put in for money for recording our record and putting together a marketing campaign. Like, I think you guys have it so good there, and record labels can get grants and keep, indies can get that little the gap filled so they can still put out awesome records and support people. I think it's amazing.
Well, on that note, I'd like to acknowledge our funders for this conference, Factor
Mhm.
and the Department of Canadian Heritage, and of course the Iron Music Festival, which gave birth to the Sauga City Music Festival and Conference. And, to all the people who showed up today and will be showing up to this conference from now to the 26th of March.
Mhm.
And again, Karen, we really, really appreciate you. And maybe one of these days when we can gather in a physical space, we'll have you back and it won't just be those other entities that you talk about, but we can
Yeah,
have
no, I'd
you
love to. I miss
rub
traveling.
shoulders with some of the folks who
Yeah.
are huge fans of yours. And that's why we want to record it as well, because with the pandemic easing up while, things are going haywire left and right,
Mhm.
some people have had to go back to work. Um, Others who are able to work from home are working from home.
Yeah.
And we are going to be archiving this on our website. So we will put that out for all you people who are asking. One of the questions was, where will there be an archived version of this talk? So we'll do that. And people wanting to get a hold of Karen, all her socials will be there as well. And again, Karen, huge thanks.
It's my
And
pleasure.
thanks very much. Go get her book, guys. 4.8 out of 5 stars. And as we had heard in person, well worth the time and effort. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's been my pleasure. I really hope everyone live streams and does extraordinarily well with it and goes builds their little empires.
All right.
Thank
So on
you.
that note, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Karen. Have a great day and stay safe from COVID.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.